Welcome in. We are getting ready to break down the NFL free agency as we're about 24 hours in, and a lot of big moves have happened. We're going to be breaking that down and then moving over to our 5 and 5 segment as Michael McKenzie finally beat Chase Maseko. We're going to have an opponent up here for him, and then the NHL trade deadline leaning closer to the Stanley Cup Finals. All that here on Plead Your Case.
Hey there, sports fans. You're watching another episode of Waynesburg University Community Television's only national sports debate show, Plead Your Case. Whether you're a diehard fan or a casual observer, get ready to join us every week as we dive deep into current pressing sports topics. Our panelists dissect every angle, every scenario, and every statistic to influence their fiery takes.
What has he done without Tom Brady?
And spirited arguments.
No, listen, Bowtie. Have you ever played Foursquare? No, you were too old to play Foursquare.
There will be no argument unexplored, and every take will be under review.
After reviewing the play...
Here in the Waynesburg University Communication Department, we believe in heated debates with a touch of friendly competition, which is why we also have a fresh 5 and 5 mini segment that you won't want to miss.
I don't think a pitcher is breaking Cy Young's wins record of 511.
You Google America's team, and what do you get? You get the...
So sit back, relax, and get ready for some serious sports chat. It is time to plead your case.
The free agency re-signings, you have Josh Allen getting a 6-year contract. Then you have Max Crosby, Myles Garrett finally going back to the Browns, and J.C. Horn as well. And then you move over to a few of the other trades and signings. You have DK Metcalf going to the Steelers, Justin Fields leaving the Steelers, going to the Jets, C.J. Gardner-Johnson leaving the Super Bowl winning team, going to the Texans, and Davante Adams heading down to Los Angeles. A little bit familiar with that as he was in Las Vegas as well. Biggest thing out of all of this is that a lot has gone down and there's a lot to talk about. But the biggest thing that I've seen throughout this entire thing is that this free agency class is very O-line and D-line heavy. Would you guys agree with that going into this free agency class at all?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, they're getting tons of money too. I have top contracts right here that I've signed so far. 3 of the top 6 are linemen.
Yeah.
Like Dan Moore, 4 years, $82 million with the Titans. That's insane.
Which is a massive contract.
It's absolutely insane.
For the poor amount of work that he did for the Steelers last year.
Yeah, especially whenever you look at the Ravens and what they gave Ronnie Stanley.
Yeah, that as well. I mean, I think that going into this free agency class, last season felt like a lot more, but I think it was just a lot more skill players than the linemen. Now we're in the lineman phase where a lot of their contracts are ending. But in the biggest thing, it's been 24 hours so far. Who do you think is the most shocking surprise out of all of this, whether it's a team or if it's a specific player? Cole?
I mean, I think shocking for me, honestly, it's going to have to go the Steelers not having a quarterback so far. I mean, that's pretty concerning,
it's a big
to say
thing.
the least. I mean, and we also didn't bring back Najee, and what he signed with the Chargers is way doable because now we don't have a running back, we don't have a quarterback, we have 2 physical wide receivers. I think the DK trade is honestly, when that first broke, I think that was the craziest trade that I've seen. The craziest signing is honestly to me probably the Dan Moore one, especially just because the Titans are way, way overpaying, especially for Mayo Man himself. And I mean,
especially who
quarterback.
has the first round pick, and you need to build a lot more around whoever you pick, whether it's Shador or Travis or anyone else in that regard. I think that was definitely one of the biggest shocks. And I mean, the biggest thing is with the Steelers. I mean, what are we doing? I mean, the running back situation. Jaylen Warren is not the answer. I'm sorry. For all of you fans that may think Warren is the answer, he's not. Harris was consistent. He only had 4 total fumbles over his 4 years that he had. Every year he was at 1,000-yard rushing running back. So why we decided to part ways with him, I'm unsure. Rumors have it that he wasn't good in the locker room, stuff like that. Besides the point, you need to look for a running back. Now, for me, I looked at J.K. Dobbins. He's not on the Chargers defense. Brett Gambita said it best. Just do like a trade sign deal where Najee goes to the Chargers, J.K. goes to the Steelers. It's not a trade. It's just signings that happen through free agency. In this case, who would you want to see, Tyler, for the Steelers to pick up, whether it's in the quarterback, running back area?
I would personally like to pick Russell Wilson over Aaron Rodgers. It just seems like it's going to be a toss-up between the two, honestly. But Russell Wilson just makes no sense. He knows the playbook. He knows the system. I don't want Aaron Rodgers, who's 41, 42, 43. He's old. He should be in a retirement home by now. So, I mean,
My legs.
I don't want the random conversations with Pat McAfee and the cryptic tweets from Rodgers.
He's going to be
Wilson at least can talk about the team in a positive tone when we're positive and a negative tone when it's negative. And he knows the playbook. He knows the coaches. I think that's good enough.
The only thing that Aaron Rodgers has over Russell Wilson that I wouldn't mind the Steelers have is he can throw the ball down the middle of the field.
True.
Russell Wilson can't do that. But Russell Wilson, he can throw a deep ball.
clock management too. We've seen it very, very badly with Russell Wilson. His clock management at the end of the year was horrendous.
That mixed with the poor time management that Tomlin has.
Yes, I mean it was impeccably bad. I mean seriously. I think for me, a quarterback that I'd want to see him either trade for or sign potentially, Mason Rudolph. I mean,
I think that would be a great idea.
This year is just going to have to be a quarterback filler year, I think. I mean, I fear that it is. I really don't like having Russ come back. I don't want Aaron Rodgers at all. If Aaron Rodgers comes back, I'm not watching a Steelers game the whole entire year. I already made that case. But I also agree with what Michael McKenzie was saying, and maybe trading for Malik Willis just as a pickup or picking him up. Maybe trading for Joe Milton. I mean,
hey,
we've seen his potential at Tennessee. I mean, give him a shot. I mean,
he played one game for Patriots. He balled out.
Our best hope is that we can have a quarterback come in and have a Sam Darnold
type
revival career.
Like Jameis Winston, maybe?
Maybe Jameis.
I would be okay with that. He's on the younger side, especially looking at these two quarterbacks we're dealing with here, Russell Wilson and Aaron Rodgers. I mean, oh my God. I mean, Jameis Winston would be perfect.
I think he'd be a good head to keep, DK and Pickens. I think he'd be able to maybe
keep him level-headed.
Level, or maybe even make him be a little bit more fun about football.
Yeah, bring in a more fun.
Not, I'm trying to hurt everybody and hurt myself in the process.
Yeah.
Basically, the biggest thing, though, is that with 24 hours in, there's been a lot of signings. We talked about how it's more on the defensive line, offensive line, but there have been some skill players that have gone. Based off who's left on the board, who needs to go soon, and maybe what teams need to start acting soon?
I mean, my biggest one yesterday was Will Fries and Josh Sweat. I was surprised that they lasted that long.
Right.
I really don't know. I mean,
Sweat's old, though. I don't know.
Yeah, but the Vikings, the Vikings kind of finally got their big O-line piece that I guess they're going to build around with J.J. McCarthy. I really don't know.
On the defensive side, they've been doing great. They picked up Jonathan Allen and Javon Hargrave all on today, actually.
And at first, it looked like the Vikings were going to have a terrible free agency, and then they just randomly in 3 hours.
They're doing
resign.
It's been crazy. TA?
For me, I have Calvin Ridley. I think he would be good in Seattle. Honestly, I mean, you just tore up all those wide receivers. And I actually have it on my confused list, the Seattle Seahawks, is you just completely demolished your wide receiving core. But then you signed Sam Darnold to a $100 million contract. Doesn't make much sense to me, So I think that, Calvin Ridley, 64 receptions last year, over 1,000-yard season, 1,017 yards to be exact. I think he'd be perfect for Seattle.
Yeah, very underrated piece there, too.
And then within this free agency class, where do you rank this with the past ones that we've been able to see, at least from your recent recollection? Myself, I think it's more enjoyable as a fan of the Pittsburgh Steelers just because we're losing a lot and not gaining a lot right now. We've traded for DK Metcalf, which was insane, but then also giving him a 5-year extension for $150 million, I think was a little too much. So just in this case, where do you rank this? Are there certain free agency classes that you think are going to be better? And maybe do you think next year is going to be even better than this one?
I think free agency is always a changing landscape. I think if I say right now, this is the best one that we've seen since last year or the season before, next year is going to be better than this year probably. But I think one thing will always remain constant. I said this to my roommate Luke Andrusik yesterday, that the Jaguars are just going to go out and sign random people and just try and spend as most money as possible.
Give them crazy contracts.
Give them crazy
Christian
contracts.
Kirk is the one that comes to mind for me.
Exactly.
100%. Evan Ingram too.
Throw out everything.
Literally.
For me, this would be the greatest offseason of all time if this was 2019. I mean, from a Steelers perspective, if you would have told me back in 2019 that the 2025 Pittsburgh Steelers could potentially see Aaron Rodgers throwing balls to DK Metcalf, playing the parade.
We would have said
already.
it. Yeah, we would
Playing
have
the
said we're Super
parade
Bowl champs
already.
already.
Logan
I mean,
Arblaster would
no.
have bought a fake ring already.
No,
by now.
I mean, these are all NFL stars, and they still are. They're just on the older side. They're out of their prime, so I don't know what to say. But the contract extension talk, though, has been absolutely insane this offseason.
Yeah, I think for myself, at least, players that have been left on the board, Joey Bosa is a name that I'm shocked is still on the board. I think he would be a great fit for the Commanders, who are trying to make that push after 1 year under Dan Quinn and Jalen Daniels. I think that maybe even the Chiefs, they do need some help on the defensive side. They have a lot of players that have been doing good for them just because they have Spagnuolo as their coordinator, but then you also have Chris Jones that's on the way out. So potentially the Chiefs, Commanders, maybe even the Dolphins. Who knows? The Dolphins and Cowboys have made 0 moves. I love how I saw the first thing was the Cowboys, what they did. They signed a long snapper. Great job, guys.
And then they signed Devontae Williams.
Yeah, and then they signed.
And they haven't paid a player in free agency over $6 million since 2015.
Yeah, it's been insane. So just real quick to wrap this up, give me your way too early Super Bowl predictions. Who's going to be there for the AFC? Who's being there for the NFC? Who's winning it all after just about 24 to 28 hours of free agency?
Tia, you take this one first.
Okay, so my Super Bowl champion, it was my playoff prediction last year, even though they really haven't done anything, the Detroit Lions. I just still think top to bottom, it's a very well-run organization. AFC, I don't know, honestly. Honestly, Buffalo, probably. I'd probably say Buffalo on it. Kansas City is probably going to be back there. So but yeah, probably Buffalo.
I think I have to agree with you on that one. I think if the Bills go into the draft and they nail it perfectly, they pick up a receiver that they desperately have needed for the past 3 years, I think that they'll be able to finally maybe potentially get over that hump of beating the Chiefs. And I think the Lions honestly will have a fair stride into, hopefully, a fair stride into it, because the Eagles blew up their defense. They have nothing. I mean, they're going to have a bunch of randoms out there and Zach Bond. I mean, seriously, what were they thinking? Everybody is gone. So I think the Lions, they did lose some key pieces on defense, like DJ Reed, but I think they're still going to make up for it. They have so many young pieces, and they draft so well. And I think maybe we could see, maybe this is too early, the Commanders might sneak in there. I mean, they looked really good last year.
I don't think they're ready
good
yet.
last year. I don't know.
It's definitely in the next few years. I don't think it'll be next year, though.
I think next year they're going to, I don't know. I think they could potentially face the
I
Lions
can't
in
agree
the
with you
NFC
on that one.
Championship.
I don't think that's going to work.
I
With
mean,
the addition of Deebo Samuel, you never know. Anything could happen. For myself, maybe you look at the color code thing that's been going on. A lot of fans have been speculating who's going to be in, but they changed it this year. It's just a bunch of rainbow. There is no actual color to it. It's like pink, red, yellow, orange, green, blue. It's all of them. So it's maybe it's all the teams.
Oh, wait.
Who knows?
I get it now. That's a Super Bowl we've all been waiting for. Instead of having the Chiefs play and the Eagles, we could finally just have a meteor hit the field.
It's neither. It's no longer that.
There's no teams at all.
Super Bowl's canceled.
It's the
this
Pro
year.
Bowl. They're playing
For
flag
myself,
football.
I think I'm going to have to agree with Tyler here. The Lions, I think they're going to continue on. I'm going to guess they're going to be playing the Chiefs, and the Chiefs are going to get their second loss in the row in the Super Bowl. But that is going to wrap us up here on the NFL free agency. Still more to come with free agency stuff, so be sure to stay tuned on Twitter and all those for more information on different trades. But coming up, we're going to be back here on the desk with Michael McKenzie, joined by Cole Keller for the 5 and 5 mini segment.
Gotcha.
have you been?
Just around.
Okay.
Fading up to Tyler and Mia in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Hi, I'm Mia Hinkins.
And I'm Tyler Aaron, and welcome
to Jacket Sports Weekly.
Welcome in to the 5 and 5 mini segment here on Plead Your Case. If you haven't joined us before here on PYC, just to break it down for you, basically 5 topics within 5 minutes. We have 2 contestants. Each are going to take 30 seconds, break it down, try and convince me. There's been some speculation in the past on how this goes, so as you can tell on my piece of paper here, A for Mike, B for Cole. I'll circle who won that. We'll go on. No speculation from here on out. So with that, we're joined up here by Michael McKenzie, our previous winner from last week, and Cole Keller, who's going to be taking them on. You guys ready?
Oh, I'm ready.
All right. We're going to start our first question off here with Mike. Mike, are the Steelers making the right moves in free agency?
Not at all. They've screwed this offseason up royally. You started off by letting the cheapest and probably best quarterback option you had available let him walk. I would 100% have given Justin Fields $20 million a year based on this quarterback market. But now you're going to give either 37-year-old Russ or 41-year-old Aaron Rodgers at least $30 million a year, maybe more, to be your quarterback, and they suck already. You went and traded a second-round pick and gave $33 million a year over 5 years to DK Metcalf, who I compare him to George Pickens with muscles. Just not a consistent production-type guy. Head case receiver who's going to cause issues when he doesn't get the ball. Him and George Pickens, they're not going to work out
that
together. They just sorted out.
Cole, are the Steelers making the right moves?
Absolutely not. I mean, I feel a little bit indifferent about it, but right now we have no quarterback, no running back one, 2 physical wide receivers. We only have 1 real route runner, maybe 2 if Roman Wilson comes back and is healthy. We still need a young cornerback to pair with Joey Porter Jr., and we need a defensive tackle as well. And right now we have nothing unless we go sign Aaron Rodgers, and that'd be a waste. So
That's still nothing.
Wow, quick on that one.
Still nothing.
All right, well, we
what I
are
mean, nothing.
we are in agreement here that there's
nothing.
basically nothing coming out of this. But Cole, next question is for you. Will Justin Fields succeed with the Jets?
yes, I believe. I mean, we've seen all of his potential last year in 6 games, and he was being held back by the head coach and the OC, and he's getting paired up with his former Ohio State teammate, Garrett Wilson. And that's huge for him, especially confidence going into the building, already having somebody that you're going to know, you already have a relationship with. And the Jets offense, it's not the best, but now that they have Fields, they can run so many more option plays and really utilize their offense, especially with Breece Hall at the running back.
All right, thank you very much. Mike?
I agree. Not only is he going to succeed, he's going to thrive in New York. Aaron Glenn's most important hire was his offensive coordinator. He hires offensive assistant from the Detroit Lions in Engelstrand. That guy is going to emulate the Ben Johnson system. And the one thing Ben Johnson didn't really have in Detroit was a quarterback with the mobility of Justin Fields. So Engstrand with Fields, the mobile quarterback, Fields throwing to Garrett Wilson, and then the tight end for the Jets, Jeremy Rucker. He caught 2 touchdown passes in Fields' best game, that second CFP semifinal against the Clemson Tigers. I think Fields is going to absolutely thrive in New York. It's just the perfect situation for him.
All right, very, very nice. Wrapped it up very quickly in that case. We'll see where that goes. My biggest thing to that argument, though, is that he's now with a brand new head coach that was a defensive-minded head coach. So how that has worked out in the past for the NFL has not been great. We'll see where that goes. Next, Mike, for you, what would you do if you secured the Paul Skeens rookie card that was secured by an 11-year-old in California, I believe? What would you do in that scenario?
Okay, there's 2 different things here. If I got that card, I'm taking the Pirates offer, but that's me, a Pirates fan who's grown up rooting for the Pirates my entire life. I do not blame the kid at all for the decision he made. He's an 11-year-old kid from Los Angeles with no interest in the Pirates whatsoever. Yeah, he may be a Paul Skeens fan, but he's got no interest in the team whatsoever. You can sell this card at least $100,000. I'd probably say over that, this is going to be life-changing money. Could probably send him to college here in a few years once he gets to that point. It's just life-changing money for a card instead of taking a deal that only really makes sense to a Pirates fan.
All right. Cole, what do we think?
I totally disagree. He said in his own thing, my brain pooped. Yeah, your brain really did poop. I don't care that you live in California. I don't care. You can, money comes and goes, but memories, they last forever, your whole entire lifetime. I don't care that you live in California. You're obviously rich. Make a flight out here, come see a few Pirates games for the next 30 years. Could have sat in there with Livy Dune. I mean, how do you not accept that offer? I mean, maybe I am a little biased because I'm from Pittsburgh, but I mean, seriously, you have to take that offer. I mean, even if it is $100,000, it's not $1 million card. You have to take the Pirates offer. 30 years, 30 years behind home plate.
Stop. You're done. With that, my biggest thing with that as well, you mentioned Livy Dunn. She offered herself some tickets and in her press box, or not press box, excuse me, in her box
He's got
as well.
better things in mind.
He
got
does,
greater
yeah,
things in mind.
true. So some things could have came out of that. But for this one, Cole, on number 4, will O'Neal Cruz become a 30-30 player this season?
Now, I think all these questions have been relatively easy. I think this is another good, easy one. Last year, he had 21 home runs, 22 stolen bases. I think if he doesn't get it, he's going to be very close, 28, 29, 29, 28. But I definitely think that he's going to get a 30-30 season. I mean, if he doesn't, it's okay because he's still young. That was the last full season that we actually seen him play. So if he doesn't get it this year, I don't know. I could definitely see him getting it the next year, but I think he's definitely going to get it this year.
All right.
I'm going to disagree. I'm going to say no, and it's just because ever since outside of 2023, the month of April, Derek Shelton's Pirates have been one of the least aggressive teams in terms of base running. They should have stole twice as much as they attempted to last season. I don't think they're going to let O'Neal Cruz be aggressive enough on the bases to get the stolen base aspect of this. I think he's going to get the 30 home runs. I don't think he's going to get the 30 stolen bases because of the Pirates' philosophy, specifically with Shelton. They're not aggressive enough on the bases outside of that 1 month in 2023, the first year with those new rules with the bigger bases. That's it.
Whoa, buddy. We're going a little bit over there. That's that. Do I need to penalize you for that one?
Yeah, we need to execute, you know.
In this case, right now, you don't know. Mike could have won by now. Cole could have won by now. You never know. But in this case, we're going to move on to our 5th and final question. It may win it all here. Outside of the Los Angeles Lakers, what teams in the NBA should be getting more attention? Mike?
I'm going with the Houston Rockets, 5th seed in the West right now, 40-25 this season. Jalen Green, their leading scorer, 21 points per game. Super athletic, good, shifty, young guard. I think he should get a little more national attention. He's really good for Houston. Alperen Sengun averaging 19, 10, and 5 as the center for the Rockets. And they've got a couple of other top 5 picks from recent years in Jabari Smith Jr. and Amon Thompson, averaging over 15 points per game. They're starting to come along. A lot of youth. And Ime Udoka, probably a contender for Coach of the Year as well for Houston. There's just a lot of young, good excitement there in Houston, and they're 15 games over 500 right now.
Cut. Very nice. Wrap that up very nice like a bow. You did good on that one. Cole, who do you think should be getting more attention?
Now, I'm going to totally avoid the East here because the Cavs, Celtics, Knicks, and Bucks are all contenders. But the Lakers really haven't proved anything to me. They just lost to the Nets last night. They really have only won one convincing game. And all their other games have been super close. I mean, the Nuggets obviously are a team to watch. I think the Rockets are too young to really be considered a factor in that whole situation. Obviously, the Thunder are a team they're the number 1 team in the West.
Yeah.
And then obviously, I have to think about the Warriors too. They're really coming along, and they're on a 4-game win streak.
Stuff. No more from you. In this case, we're going to see where it goes down to. And the first question that went to Mike, I gave that one to Mike as well. Pretty much just had the first compelling argument there. You did mention some good things with the D tackle as well, but again, mentioned previous.
I wish I had a little more than 30 seconds because I also would have mentioned the fact that they didn't get a young corner.
You definitely would want
They
more.
got another 34-year-old stopgap Band-Aid at cornerback on a dude who's declining in his career. I wish I had more than 30 seconds because I would have mentioned
For the second one, we started out with Cole and Justin Fields. Will he succeed? I completely agree with Cole on this one. I mean, he definitely has a lot more options with the running plays and passing plays with Breece Hall. He's back with Garrett Wilson. There's definitely one to keep in mind. With the third one, with Paul Skeen's rookie card, gave that one to Cole as well because that's a good point on that. Who cares? It's 30 years of free tickets. Like, why would you not take that?
Yeah,
once in a million.
Exactly. In 30 years, like, even if you're not super rich, you could still get a plane ticket out, come see a few games, especially whenever they have, like, 3 games in a row. You just walk in the stadium. Hey, here I am. You'd be a Pittsburgh legend, too. People would just know who you were in the stadium.
Yeah, that's fair.
Then when you go with the O'Neal Cruz, will he be a 30 for 30? I'm with Mike on this one. I mean, Derek Shelton, no running the bases. We don't do that in Pittsburgh. We look at them. We don't touch them. That's the thing. So here, 30 for 30, I don't think it's realistic for Cruz to be getting it this year. Like you said, Cole, maybe in the future, but right now, I don't agree. And then with the 5th one outside of the Lakers, I'm giving it to Mike here. The Rockets are a team
Dang
that
it.
you do have to
I mean,
look
serious.
at, especially in this case. But for this one, it really came down to
I'm getting a
Mike.
Rockets jersey after that now.
Mike picked a
Jalen Green
team.
jersey.
Mike was settled on one team. You kind of went with a lot of different teams around the area of the Lakers and what has been going on. So that's where I chose Mike here. Mike moves on for another round. He goes on, even though he was worried about those first two topics. He thought he needed a little bit more time. But in this case, he got it. He got it done. Look at that. He got it done. So that is going to do it all for our 5 and 5 segment. Mike is going to move on. And then we are going to be joined back up here on the desk from Dean Shazer and Tyler Aaron talking some NHL trade deadline. In the final segment here for Plead Your Case, we're going to be breaking down the NHL trade deadline. We're moving closer into the postseason of the NHL, getting ready for the Stanley Cup. Joe Cirillo here along with Tyler Aaron and Cole Keller. We break down some of the trades. One of the biggest ones, Mikko Rantanen, also there. And then you have a lot of different ones with the Leafs and the Bruins sending their guy down to Florida. A lot of stuff has been going on. In this case, where do you guys see the biggest trade being overall throughout the National Hockey League?
The biggest trade currently, I would have to say, honestly, is probably the Mikko Rantanen deal. I mean, the Stars have the best forward. They have so many good forwards. And I think with that many good forwards, and they also acquired some other pieces with Mikael Granlund and Cody Ceci. I think with all those forwards, and you're going to be getting Sengun back by the time that you get Sagan, why did I say Sengun? Sagan, by the time that we get back to the playoffs, I mean, they're looking at so many great forwards, and they have a good goalie, and their defense can be a little iffy, but I mean, I think they're really scary, especially after that trade. I mean, I just think it's a good fit for Rantanen too. I don't think the Hurricanes really matched his style.
Right.
And in 2 games so far, he has 3 points. I mean, it's a positive outlook, but he's playing with a lot of good teammates around him, and they really didn't give up that much. They didn't have to give up a top prospect. They only had to give up a lot of picks. But when you're in a win now mode, I think that's okay.
You need to win now.
Yeah, I think that's okay.
I'll tell you what, this Dallas trade, I mean, how can you not love this for Dallas Stars fans?
Yeah.
You gave up Logan Stankoven, young center. Yes, he's young, and he's going to be good. But it's warranted this 2 first-round picks, 2 third-round picks in this deal. Your first line now, consistent Wyatt Johnson, Jason Robertson, Mikko Rantanen. That's amazing. Mikko Rantanen in the top 15 in scoring right now, even in his little 13-game stint with Carolina when he was out there in Raleigh. This is beautiful for Dallas, even though Tyler Seguin, when he gets back into the lineup, he's probably going to go on that 3rd or 4th line, which is crazy because Tyler Seguin is definitely one of Dallas's best players. The amount of depth Dallas has, and even transferring over to Florida too, adding Brad Marchand onto that first line. I mean, just here on Tuesday night, Florida's in Boston. Brad Marchand, I don't know if he's playing yet, but it would be amazing that his first game back would be against the team he played for his entire career.
I definitely agree with you guys. Mikko Rantanen is just an insane trade in general. If you're the Hurricanes, you've been trying to make a push for the Cup for a while now, and at this point, it might be falling off the rails a little bit. So giving that to the Stars, who I think now the Stars could very well have a very, very good push into the Cup. But for this, overall, who are your winners? Who are your losers at the trade deadline? After this, where do you see it?
Okay, so I have 4 winners technically, but 3 of them are teams. I'll explain the 4th one when I get there. Tampa Bay, Colorado, and Philadelphia. Those are the 3 winners I have. Tampa Bay adding just a few depth pieces for the AHL, stuff like that for Syracuse, but obviously Oliver Bjorkstrand and Yanni Gourde trading away those 2 first-round picks to Seattle in that trade is going to be wonderful for them. Yanni Gourde on those 2 back-to-back Stanley Cup championship teams for Tampa Bay, coming back after losing Yanni Gourde to Seattle in that expansion draft. That's huge. Oliver Bjorkstrand, this is a guy who can put up 50, 60 points. He's going to be great on that second line out there in Tampa. Colorado just absolutely got a lot of depth, which heading into the season, they had little to no depth. They barely had enough money to sign Oliver Shellington, who they've traded away to Anaheim. But Brock Nelson, Charlie Coyle, Eric Johnson coming back in this farewell tour, back where it pretty much all started for him. Jimmy Vesey, depth, Brian Lindgren, great, and even had sprinkle a few picks in there too. Philadelphia only giving up Andrei Kuzmenko out to LA, Scott Laughton to Toronto. You get a first-round pick, get Nikita Grabenkin. He's going to be great whenever he develops. So Philadelphia got a good haul for that. And lastly, not a team, but specifically Jack Roslovic of the Carolina Hurricanes. Signed over the summer in Carolina. He's worn 96 his entire career.
Yeah.
Mikko Rantanen gets traded to Carolina. He wears 96. Jack Roslovic gives him 96, goes up to 98. What does Jack Roslovic get in return? A Rolex, a nice shiny Rolex. 13 games later, Mikko Rantanen out to Dallas. What does Jack Roslovic do the next day? Go back to 96. So he just traded his number for 13 games for a Rolex. That's the greatest deal of the century here. That is pure robbery.
That was good. I'll give you that. That was very good.
That was good.
Cole, who are your winners? Who are your losers?
Now, I think that you're focusing more on teams that could be potentially rebuilding, like the Flyers. So I'm going to focus more on the win-now teams and what those teams have done. My first winner, obviously, has to be the Panthers. I like the Brad Marchand pickup, and I like picking up Seth Jones. But the big point about getting Seth Jones is that they got $2 million whacked off his contract to make sure the Blackhawks hold it. I think that's huge. Because looking at Seth Jones with $7 million is still a little scary, but it's better than looking at Seth Jones with $9 million.
Yeah.
So, and having Brad Marchand as well. And they also added Nico Sturm, which could be a good fourth-line center. I mean, that's a good bottom six guy. And they traded away Spencer Knight and a first-round pick, which
Hey, he's looked great in Chicago too already. He already got in a shutout already.
I mean, Spencer Knight's going to be one of the next great goalies. But they still have Bob, and they brought in Vitek Vanacek and Capo Cajonen, and I think that the Panthers, they're really getting pushed into. I think they're going to make it to the Stanley Cup.
All right.
Personally.
Yeah, I think.
And then I'm going to go with a little bit of an underrated, maybe a little biased. I like the Penguins. I like what the Penguins did.
I like our deadline too.
I like what the Penguins did. I think adding more youth, and I really like the Cody Glass for Chase Stillman trade. I mean, you get somebody who's really young. You get the Devils' first-round pick in 2021. We need as many young players as we can. I mean, we're in a hard situation right now because we got Crosby, Malkin, we got all the old players, but we still need to start trying to phase in new players, and I think that's where a lot of teams that are near the bottom are stuck at.
I think that's where I think for the Penguins here, the biggest thing, they have 30 total draft picks over the course of the next 3 years. They have 11 in 2025, 8 in 2026, and 11 in 2027. You have 2 first-rounders, 1 second, and 3 third in 25. I think that's just incredible. Granted, we'll probably see a few of those picks go away. Might not be 30 exactly. But really quickly, who is your Stanley Cup winner after this trade deadline? Cole?
Has to be the Stars. I didn't get to talk about their deadline, but I mean, man, I love it. Like I said, I think their forward pairing is phenomenal, and I just think that it's finally their time. And if it's not their time right now, I mean, they're gonna win it next year. And if they don't win it next year, then they have to win it. They're gonna at least win it twice within the next 4 to 6 plus years.
All right,
that's my pick.
Tyler,
you see with Dallas, you gave Rantanen $12 million AAV, 8-year deal. After this year, you gave the contract to Wyatt Johnson. I believe it was a 7-year deal. I have Dallas as my winner over Florida.
That's what I have.
In 7 games is what I have. I have it in 7.
I think it's going to be harder without Tkachuk.
I think it definitely is going to be harder without Tkachuk. But also, I think that Dallas has the better depth over Florida. I mean, if you look at Florida's core, it's insane on offense. But I think Dallas is stronger defensively, especially in goal. Yes, Sergei Bobrovsky is a great goaltender. Don't get me wrong. He's amazing. But I do think Jake Ottinger is the guy you roll with, and he's going to carry Dallas to the Cup.
I totally agree.
I definitely agree with you guys. The Stars are going to be the Stanley Cup champion. They're finally going to bring a championship to the city of Dallas, probably one that the city of Dallas doesn't really care about. But one that NHL fans definitely are going to be caring about with Lord Stanley's Cup. But that is going to wrap us up here for the NHL deadline and this episode of Plead Your Case. Thank you very much for tuning in. Make sure to stay tuned here for more Plead Your Case and WCTV content.
This has been a production of Waynesburg Community Television.